Welcome back to a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller.
And my name is Brett Parnell.
And let's dive into our episode. This is our episode 9 recap of Survivor Vanuatu. We're already 9 weeks in. How is that possible?
Episode 9, yeah, we are already 9 weeks in. How's it possible? We're halfway through summer. We're almost getting ready we're going to finish this season, and it should lead us right into season 51.
Yeah. And this has been so much fun. Definitely not the last rewatch we do.
No, we have to do a number more of them.
Maybe next time we'll let the audience pick what season we do.
That'd be fun.
But what are your kind of overall thoughts on episode 9 here?
Overall thoughts on episode 9. I mean, I guess it's going kind of predictably. The lead up between episode 9 and 10 is interesting to see how they try to kind of cross those episodes over.
Yeah.
For the audience's full disclosure, we're going to record episode 10 right after we do episode 9 due to some scheduling conflicts, so we've watched both of them.
Yeah.
But we won't get too much into episode 10, but I think it was, I mean, we'll get into this, but relatively humorous, but insulting at the same time for the reward incident that goes on in this episode. You might as well, Bruce, also full disclosure to the audience, you might want to talk about anything after the pig shows up. My DVD set decided it didn't want to work for the last 15 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
So I just passed on from there, but Bruce will kind of lead the way. At that part, I've read the synopsis of the episode on Survivor Wiki after.
There you go.
Anything you want to say before we get into the start?
No, so it starts out, and surprise, the men are not very happy after Tribal last night.
And that's no surprise at all, because at least some of them legitimately thought that they were about to take over the game.
Yeah. I don't know what, that wasn't a very smart thought, but they don't have all the information we have, so...
That's right. It wasn't a very smart thought, but there's clearly a level of disappointment within the former original LePevy that thought that Twila and Julie were going to vote with them, and that was their way to the end, and that they successfully navigated this game, only to find out that there was zero chance of that ever happening.
Yeah. Not only do their actions make it obvious, but why would they go with a group they're guaranteed to be on the bottom of?
Exactly.
Because once it gets down to just the guys and those two women, there's no way those two women aren't the first two to go.
The only way that you can make that work is if you follow Boston Rob's rule of playing this game, which is make an alliance and at the same time make an alliance within that alliance.
That's what I always tried to do in those Instagram online games.
Exactly. So if you did, let's hypothetically say, want to see a situation where Julie and Twila go to the end of the game while playing with the men, the two of them have to pick one man and say the three of us are going to the end of the game. But none of these men are going to do that, because with this jury, that wouldn't... The only way that they win is if Amy and Eliza are as bitter jurors as Corinne and Lex.
Yeah.
And that could happen, I guess. It's not beyond either one of them.
We don't have enough, people to do this, but imagine a bitter jurors season.
I think we'd have enough people to do that.
Well, there's some famously bitter jurors, like the two you mentioned. But I don't know if there's 20 of them.
Fair. We don't need to fan cast this because it might be hard, but I'm just going to try to put it together and I'll send you a message tonight of what it might look like.
Yeah, you said like Corinne and Lex, and the way my thought train worked was, oh, imagine them on the same season. Oh,
Yeah.
imagine a whole season of them.
Yeah.
So that's my mind spirals quickly.
I don't think it would be realistic to actually film. It could certainly be like fan casted.
I just want to see what that final tribal would be like.
Well, I'll send you what I think of tonight.
Yeah. But Sarge specifically is mad, and he tells us in the confessional he's having a hard time like talking to any of the women because he's mad at them.
Yeah.
And as he's in confessional saying this, Scout is sitting next to him like singing or humming or something for what feels like 5 years. Like the juxtaposition of him not wanting to talk to the women and her just like talking to him and singing to him is hilarious.
Yeah.
That was what she was doing, right? She was like singing or something.
Absolutely.
So we actually go right into.
And this is before we go further. I was going to say this is where you can see that like the men have not played this game well. Is that they're not well, at least at this point, they're not even trying because they're upset about the results.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to then keep playing and see what you can do moving forward. Thankfully, we get touchy subjects, which always has the ability in this game up until season 30 to break alliances apart.
We kind of get touchy subjects, but like the real like drama version of it is when the questions are about each other and they fill out this is just trivia questions about the island.
Fair enough.
But it's still the like each person has 3 things that you can smash or burn, which was my next thing.
That they did in Pearl Islands as well.
Yeah, they've done it a bunch of times, and this one was kind of calm. We're just burning this. That was my next note, so let's get into it. We're already at the reward challenge.
Yeah.
Because this is what we've been doing like last week and this week, is we just get to the reward challenge super early. But we have trivia questions and quiz questions about the island, and each person has 3 skulls, and if you get one right, you get to light someone's skull on fire. And if you get one, and once you get all 3 of your skulls burned, you're out.
Right.
We've had this challenge a ton, and it's a different thing almost every time. Sometimes this one was skulls on fire. You mentioned Pearl Islands. I forget what that one was.
It was putting coconuts in the tray of the other players.
I think my favorite is Micronesia, where each person has a rope divided into 3 sections that you chop.
Yeah.
Because once they each have their own dolls, right? And once you chop the third, it's incredibly violent and kind of shocking to the players on the island.
Micronesia did that, and All Stars did that as well.
Where you chop the third part of the rope, and this giant hammer swings down and smashes your doll right in the face.
Yeah.
It's shocking the first time you see it. You're just not expecting it, but
yeah.
And this challenge gets a little chippy and a little interesting.
Yeah, I mean, first, as I'm sure anybody suspected the second Jeff explained the challenge, the men go out 1, 2, 3, obviously.
Yeah.
But then it's where it gets interesting.
The men have no power at all in this game, by the way.
No, none.
Like, the women are telling them who's staying in the challenge, who's staying in the game. Maybe when they can sleep at this rate, who knows? Like, they have no power.
They have no power in the challenge. But the second that Eliza gets out and she's sitting on the bench with the men, all of a sudden Chris seems to have a lot of power.
Yeah, but nothing happens.
No, you're correct.
But yes, when it gets down to the women, Eliza goes out first, and she is bitter about that when we get back to camp, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
I guess Oh, we'll get there. I was going to say Vanuatu Eliza could count for our bitter jurors season, but not Micronesia Eliza.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So we learned that the winner gets a picnic and a bucket of chicken wings on like a volcano mountain.
Yeah.
And Leanne wins, and she chooses Julie to go with her, which is the least surprising thing she could have possibly done.
That's right.
Because even when they weren't together at the swap, but pre-swap, those two were the closest to each other.
Correct.
So they ride to the volcano on a helicopter. And we go back to camp, and Eliza tells us in confessional that she thinks Twila and Scout were targeting her in the challenge, which probably that's how this challenge works. You kind of just target the people that are already being targeted. You don't make waves and go after someone that hasn't been hit yet.
Yep.
But she's upset about that, and she confronts them about it back at camp, and this causes friction. It causes a bit of a tiff.
It sure does.
What do you think of this move here?
I understood. I'm assuming first and foremost that the reason that some of the players had this information was because when they give them a survival guide to read in Ponderosa before the game starts, it probably included information about the country that they're in so that they could win this challenge.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Scout was on the right path to say, you know what, Eliza's a legal student. She's probably been able to read and remember all of this data that might have, at my age, slipped in and went in one ear and out the other. That's a smart move.
Yeah.
But Eliza's also not the person I would want to piss off in Survivor because she's probably the most opinionated person on this beach.
What do you think, though, about her, like, going to them and confronting them about it and making an issue of it at camp?
I think in the long run, whether it proves to be a smart decision or a dumb decision, it's a decision that gives Eliza power in the game. Because now she's basically stating, if I'm not respected within my own alliance, I might just be a free agent.
Yeah, but my mind goes back to anytime there's an argument, and we really saw this with Twila and Mia earlier. Yep. When there's any sort of like confrontation or argument at camp, that puts those people on everyone's radars. I'm trying to stay. If I'm out there, I'm going out of my way to avoid causing these types of conflicts. Cause
that is true, but I think that put Twila and Mia on everybody's radar because they're in a situation where you're playing a team game. At this point, Eliza's playing an individual game to win $1 million.
And this was really less of an argument and more of just Eliza complaining to them and them saying, get over it.
Yeah.
But, like, if the big type of argument like Twila and Mia happened here, even though it's an individual game, I'm trying to rally votes on one of those two people. Those are the two easy people to vote for now.
I think you are correct to say you're trying to rally votes on one of those two people, but I also think that if that type of argument happens, we're probably seeing a rock draw here.
Interesting, yeah.
Because I think the person who instantly starts feeling like, oh, bleep, my alliance is trying to rally votes on me, is probably the same person who's now going to Sarge, Chad, and Chris and saying, let's get something done and go to the end.
The thing is, we never see Eliza do that in this episode.
No, because she doesn't need to. There isn't that, I'm saying hypothetically, if that big argument happens, there isn't a big argument that happens.
But she feels like she's on the bottom of her alliance.
Exactly.
She feels disrespected by the other.
But I think if she went to the other alliance, she might get to the end with them, but she wouldn't get to the final two. And if she did, there's no way any of these girls will vote for her.
Yeah.
What's the point?
It's just interesting.
In a hypothetical world, there's a decent strategic reason that you could want to play that way.
Yeah. If you're on the bottom of your alliance and you feel disrespected or whatever, not doing anything about that and just status quo, staying
Yep,
on the bottom of your alliance is an interesting move.
very true.
But this kind of Eliza being confrontational or confronting those two for how they played the challenge, Chris sees this. He tells us in confessional there's definitely cracks in the women. Eliza is seeing her place in this alliance. And it cuts to him telling Sarge and Chad that on a raft. Like, hey, we can try to make some sort of plan around Eliza being insecure and maybe keep us all here.
And I think you're on to why this nothing ever happens with Eliza's vote here.
Interesting. How so?
The fact is that they make that discussion, but then instantly, because the three old guys, notably Sarge, and he already has that relationship, the attention seems to go back to, okay, Twila, can we try to get rid of Eliza tonight? And Twila is not on the bottom.
No,
They
but that,
never really went to that vote in Eliza's case that was on the bottom and said, we want to work with you. It turned into more, can we get somebody out of the middle to come join us that we've been trying to poach before and it hasn't worked?
because despite the vote last week, Sarge and Twila, I understand this. Because despite that vote, Sarge and Twila do have a tight relationship.
Correct.
Sarge, none of the men have really talked with Eliza.
Exactly.
So I
But
understand them. If they're going to try to save themselves, why wouldn't Twila be the person you go to work with?
I just don't think that that's as likely to work in this situation. You have to be if you this might be me looking at Survivor in a very game heavy way that we've seen in the 30s and 40s that obviously wasn't relevant back then. But if you're going to win this game, you have to play the game with every other player in the game.
The thing is, we've kind of established that Twila doesn't know how to play the game.
We've kind of established that Chris, Sarge, and Chad don't know how to play the game either.
We both pointed out one of Chris's confessionals in the premiere and said this gives off winner vibes, though.
Well, that's in next episode. Oh, in the premiere, yes.
The premiere, that he was happy they divided men and women because men are easier to manipulate. He does have one in the second episode for sure.
Yes.
But Twila plays this game emotionally and based on the people she likes. I could totally see her wanting to vote out Eliza.
Yeah.
So I understand it wasn't the correct move. It didn't work.
I think
I understand them going her. And if they had gone to Eliza, I don't think that would have worked either.
Fair enough. But if I was, at least my take is, if I was to play this game, if I'm ever trying to break up an alliance that has power over me, it's by taking the person on the bottom.
And see, my thought is, I'm going to the person I have a relationship with that trusts me instead of going to someone I've never talked to.
Fair enough.
The person Sarge and Twila are close, they're going to trust each other a lot quicker than Sarge and Eliza.
But the one thing that you can't do, and this is the absolute biggest problem people will have trying to play this game in this type of a situation, is try both cards.
Yeah.
Because word will get back between the two and it'll all fall apart.
And the men on this season, some of them have been incredibly entertaining. Some of them were just kind of there. None of them have been real great strategically.
Yep.
Chris had that one confessional in the premiere, but he's barely been in the edit so far. The men we've seen a lot of was JP early on. We've seen a ton of Sarge. We've seen a lot of Rory because he's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen a lot of Sarge. The men that they're showing us heavily in the edit just aren't great strategically.
That is true.
JP went early. I think if he had reached this point in the game, he could have navigated something like this a lot better than the guys that are here.
100%.
So.
And I mean, just on where people are in life, any of the younger guys probably would have picked up on Eliza's on the bottom and been able to build a relationship with her easier than guys who are in their 50s. Eliza's 22 years old in this
Yeah.
season.
And so we talk about how the men are kind of just powerless and the divide between them and the women here. And the men don't even realize what big the disparity is here. Because Julie and Leanne return from their reward.
Yeah.
And they have smuggled. They say smuggled. Smuggled implies you like did it against the rules or something. Production wouldn't have allowed it if it was against the rules. So they just brought back a bag of chicken
Yeah.
wings, like the rest of the chicken wings. There's enough for all the women to have two each. But we're hiding it from the men. And what we're showing the men is, hey, we brought back the bones from the chicken wings we already ate.
Yeah.
That don't have meat on them, I don't think. Because we
I
ate the
think
meat
they
off
had a
of them.
bit, but barely any.
And the men are thrilled by this, by the way.
And I don't blame them because it's something that tastes like real food.
Well, that's because it is real food.
Yeah, well, the bone is not real food, but
No, but the meat
it
is.
was real food.
True. But this is. What do you think of this move here? That we're bringing something back, but hiding it from some of the tribe?
I think it's both smart and dumb at the same time, and I'll get to that. I think it's a smart move for them to hide it from the men. Not
Yeah.
a problem with that at all. You want the woman to be strong in immunity. A little burst of energy can sometimes be the difference in winning and losing. You want to keep your alliance strong. You also want to make up for what happened at Touchy Subjects, or I don't know what it's called if it's trivia, but you all know what I mean. And
Probably still touchy subjects.
this is a good way of rebuilding that camaraderie between everybody who went into that challenge working together. Giving the men the chicken bones, on the other hand, I thought was just plain stupid.
Why?
Because what's the logic in that?
They think you did something nice for them. You're trying to get in their like.
I
It's a
guess
social move, I think.
if it was me, I would have just chucked them in the ocean and ended it there.
Well, that's littering. Some poor turtle could choke on that or something.
I guess.
I don't know. That's what they say about plastic straws when they
Yeah, but
want to use
that's
those
because
stupid
plastic
paper
doesn't
straws.
decompose.
What?
That's because plastic won't decompose. Bone will decompose.
Yeah, but plastic straws break a lot easier than bone does.
I know, but bone will just sink to the bottom of the ocean and microorganisms will eat it.
Also, paper straws suck.
Yes, I agree. I should add, when people are talking about decomposing at sea, you're talking to someone who intends to be buried at sea.
That's not surprising.
So I've read a lot into this.
But here's the thing. Look at how happy the men were with those bones.
That's fair.
It's a social move.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way.
And so, food-wise, yes, it's stupid. There's no meat on those bones. What are we doing? I guess you could like try to make a necklace out of them or something if you're bored.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But or like, oh, idols didn't exist yet. I was about to say fashion a bone into a fake idol or something, but that wouldn't have been a thing yet.
Yeah,
but
very much so.
Then Eliza goes to get tree mail and has a bit of an adventure here.
Yeah.
Would you like to share with the good people what happened here?
I will do so, but then I'll tell you where my feed cuts off. Eliza goes to tree mail.
This is so
gets
ridiculous.
the tree mail, and there is a live pig here. And Eliza is trying to get it back to camp. This pig is so stubborn that it belongs in an animal challenge on The Amazing Race. And then she's screaming for help from Chris, who proceeds to come over and see what's going on. to which you hear there's a pig, to which Twila is running over with a machete.
Yeah, well...
And that is where I lost connection.
Chris gets to Eliza in the woods and has no patience for the leash this pig is on, so just picks it up and carries it back. This thing squeals the entire way back to camp till it is put on the ground. Did you catch that part?
No.
Okay. So yeah, Chris carries it back to camp.
The scene where Twila shows up with the machete is the last thing that I saw of this episode.
I think... Well, they get to Twila, like... You would have seen him carrying it.
Okay, so I might have not thought it was in camp, but that's okay.
Well, so he meets Eliza where she's at and picks it up and carries it and puts it down on the beach, like down the beach from camp, and people come meet them there. So it's not quite at camp. But yeah, Twila comes running at this thing with the machete, which is fantastic, and I love that that's where your feed cut off at. But Eliza says, no, we can't kill it. And there's a note, and it basically says we need to take care of the pig and keep him happy. And I wrote down, we have a tribe pet.
We do have a tribe pet. At least for a few days. We
can't do anything with... And by the way, this is the last time we see the pig this episode, by the way. This does not get addressed again other than this one scene.
Fair.
So, next week we'll see the pig again, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And so we go from pig to the immunity challenge. And here's how this works. Is each person is standing at a table with a puzzle in front of them.
Okay.
And they have all these different pieces. And probes to hold up a picture of a puzzle, and they have to match the colors of all the pieces.
Nice.
And all three guys get it wrong on the first round.
I think they've done this on the challenge before, too.
Probably. And so we keep going until eventually Amy wins immunity. And we get back to camp, and she has a bit of a confessional where, I did the right thing, I won immunity, but she's not sure if she did do the right thing there, because now she's perceived as a strong threat amongst the women.
Yeah.
And is she making herself too strong of a threat? My note here was, winning immunity is always the right choice.
100%.
And she realizes that. And so, at this point, it's seeming...
If you think that you might be coming off as too strong and too much of a threat, then try to go to tribal without immunity, and let's see what happens.
Throwing a challenge is never a good idea.
Yeah.
Even if it's like Redemption Island, where you have Russell, look what happened afterwards. They were...
That's right.
They won. They threw a challenge to lose and get rid of Russell, and then they gave their opponent all the momentum, and they lost a few in a row.
If they don't throw that challenge, Boston Rob has not someone who's won Survivor yet.
What if Russell is, though?
Russell on Winners at War instead of Boston Rob would have been ridiculous. But what if it's not? What if it's just some random person and, let's say Ralph wins Survivor, rest in peace, and since he can't be on Winners at War because he's no longer with us, Fabio is on Winners at War.
No, Ralph was still alive when Winners at War was made.
Was he? I didn't
know.
Let
me look up when he died. You know, I didn't expect to be talking about Ralph this episode.
Yeah.
Ralph died in April of 2022.
Okay, so yeah, he still would have been alive. Either way, I've been trying to find a way to work Fabio into the Winners at War cast for 6 years.
So the way you did that was...
Rob not...
Zapatera doesn't throw a challenge?
Yeah.
And that equals Fabio.
Because I think that was a huge miss. I would have loved to see Fabio play Winners at War with 19 strategic gamers and him.
It couldn't have just been they cast Fabio instead of Ben. It had to be like this chain reaction of events that starts with Zapatera of all tribes.
Well, in my ideal world, they would have cast Mike instead of Ben, and that would have just ended that.
Whenever I'm
But
edit the
I'm
Winners at Warcast, it's always Ben's spot or Denise's spot that I give away.
but I'm probably one of the very few people who thinks that one, Mike should have been on Winners at War, but two, that Mike is one of the best winners of New School Survivor.
Earl Cole on Winners at War would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
But yeah, I love. Oh my gosh, I did not expect Ralph conversation this episode. That is fantastic. But no, when I edit the Winners at Warcast, it's always I give men Ben's spot and I give women Denise's spot.
Makes sense.
So at this point in the episode, we're actually talking about this episode. It's seeming like Sarge will be the target because he's kind of a big physical threat.
Yeah.
Logic tracks. We see Scout and Eliza both give confessionals about this ongoing tension between them, so that's something to be watching out for. And also, Scout talks to us in a confessional about how close Julie and Leanne are getting, and that's knocking her down in the hierarchy. Which is interesting. Like, that's a good observation from her. And at this point, too, like, as she's giving that confessional, we see this little scene, too, of, like, Julie and Leanne, like, dancing or something at camp. You might have seen it when you watched the next episode. You know how he did the, like, recap at the beginning?
Yeah.
They showed this scene of Julie and Leanne at camp.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we see that. And I'm thinking, because we've made the Julie to Parvati comparison. When Julie was, like, using charm on the new Lepevi guys.
Yeah.
That's what she's doing. I think that's what she's doing here. She's, like, her and Leanne are just, like, they get along well anyway. They have the whole game. But she's definitely using that same type of charm to strengthen her bond here. The way Parvati did with, the women in Micronesia.
Yeah, I agree.
And even in, I know you didn't catch this part of it, but you see those two in next week's episode too.
Yeah.
I'm just I didn't know, I wasn't watching as critically the first time I watched this season. I wasn't watching for a podcast rewatch. But the, comparison of Julie being the original or, prototype version of what Parvati would become, gameplay-wise, she really is laying the blueprint here.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. We also then see an argument between Sarge and Twila where Sarge is upset because Twila gave him her word and she went back on it and he wouldn't have betrayed her. She had a guaranteed top 4 spot. And she admits to him she screwed up. And she kind of puts the blame on Julie a little bit. Of Julie swayed me to go this other way.
Very true.
And so we get to Tribal, and Sarge tells everyone that Twila let Julie snake her. Just lays it all right out there. And Twila admits, she has friends on both sides, and she doesn't feel bad about that. But it's kind of a hard conflict to navigate, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then Leanne wonders how Julie got off scot-free, because, everyone at camp's been mad at, the guys have been mad at Twila for this vote. Twila went back on what she told us. And Leanne's like, her and Julie both said it. Why is Twila the only one everyone's mad at? Why did Julie get off scot-free? And Julie kind of says she didn't get off scot-free. And, like, one of the things she says is she's the name who the guys are writing down tonight. And I don't remember if they did. I'll have to check that. But I wrote down, even if the guys do write down your name, there's only 3 of them, you're fine.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, Sarge goes home. And here's what's interesting. Chris votes with the women here.
That he does. And this is a smart strategy that we'll get into next episode. Because it's kind of tied into the opening scene of next week.
So, Chad voted for Julie and Sarge voted for Eliza. So even the 2 guys that didn't vote for Sarge were not aligned together in their vote.
Yeah.
That's not smart.
That is not smart.
But smart by Chris to kind of save face, align his vote with the women, because then he's less likely to go next.
Yeah.
And so, as we wrap up this recap, do you want to go first on Align Blindside First Boot, or do you want me to?
Sure. With it being Sarge's boot week, I am gonna give you 3 people from the United States military.
Nice.
So your options are from Survivor Island of the Idols, Missy Bird.
Huh, I did not know that.
Air Force. From Survivor Borneo, Rudy Bosch. And from Survivor Australia, Cal Gleason.
Ooh, that's interesting. I'm gonna align with Kel.
Okay.
And I think if I get to the end, I can be like, hey, before we got out here, he tried to smuggle things on here. Is this really who you want to vote for?
Maybe Joey might vote for you for that reason.
Which we had Tina on, who told us not just the beef jerky thing, that he got caught by production trying to smuggle other stuff in.
Yeah.
Which I did not know.
By Australian Customs.
I don't think I knew that till Tina told us.
Yeah, Tina said that Australian Customs stopped him for smuggling food through the border.
Yeah, and until she told us that, I had no idea.
That when you're about to play Survivor, production probably doesn't let you go, hey, we just landed at the airport. I'm going to go walk to a grocery store.
Yeah. I can't bring myself to first boot Rudy, so he's going to get blindsided and Missy gets first booted.
Okay. I think I have to first boot Rudy, even though he's one of my favorite players of all time, because you're not going to beat Rudy, and if you blindside him, you're not going to get his vote. That leads me with... Oh, yeah, no chance. Rudy has said every episode that I'm a man of my word. Every episode of Borneo, every episode he was on of All Stars.
Yeah, that's true.
So that leaves me with no choice. I'll blindside Kel, and I'm going to take Missy to the end.
Interesting.
I did a trivia game that Missy hosted back during lockdown. She was great to chat with.
Yeah, that's cool. So, our men here, this is a bit of a pagonging happening, where they're just getting picked off one by one, correct?
Okay. Yep.
And so, I'm giving you 3 people who got voted out as part of their tribe just getting picked off one by one.
Nice.
And so, I'll give you the original person getting voted out in the pagonging, Gretchen Cordy.
Okay.
I will give you Zapatera kind of got pagonged, so I'll give you Ralph. We talked about him.
Okay.
And then I had another name in my head that I just forgot. You know what? Because it's the episode, let's throw Sarge in there.
Okay. Gretchen, Sarge, and Ralph. I am going to align with Gretchen. I think she had a lot to offer early on, and Gretchen's a name that doesn't get talked about a ton, but I think if that one vote is different, she could have won the game.
That's what I was going to say. If the merge vote goes in their direction, she wins.
Yep. And I mean, we don't know. There's a possibility that somebody would have became a big strategic player the way Hatch was, but from what we saw, it's a good guess.
If you want to rewrite history to make Winners at War more entertaining, I'm going to rewrite it so Dr. Sean wins that season and we get him on Winners at War.
That would have been hilarious.
Because here's the thing. If by some miracle he makes it to the end, he has the perfect jury pitch for
Yep.
I didn't vote nothing was personal. I had a strategy and I played it.
And that's what would have won back then.
It wouldn't have won 40, but can you imagine if he would have won with the alphabet strategy? What would the domino effect have been for the future of Survivor gameplay?
There would have never been Survivor Winners at War. Yasur Thailand would have been the last season of this show.
Thailand might have probably almost killed it anyway, but the idea of Sean winning is always funny to me.
Yeah, it is. So I'm going to align with Gretchen. That leads me to have to blindside Sarge and send him to the jury, because who wants a juror that voted for Philip Shepard?
Yeah.
Ralph voted for Philip Shepard to win. I don't want him on the jury at all.
Just be Philip and you'll get his vote.
Yeah, you can't just be Philip. You have to actually be Philip.
You can't just play that as a strategy and I'm gonna try to act like Philip.
No, there's only one Philip.
Well, there's a Philip and a coach.
Fair.
They're pretty similar.
That's true. But that's my answer.
All right. If the merge vote goes differently, Gretchen probably wins. And she's clearly the best player of these three.
Yeah.
So I'm going to align with her. I'm going to first boot Ralph and blindside Sarge. But nice. I will say, we've talked about the men being a little incompetent at various points this season. Mm-hmm. Not a bad player, Sarge. Not a good one, but not terrible.
An average player.
He understands how things work. He just... Numbers at the merge didn't go his way.
That's right. But
if the men had even numbers at the merge, or if last week's vote had gone the way they thought it would, he maybe wins this season.
Yeah, you're right.
So, this was fun.
This was fun. I will see you in a few minutes for episode 2. The audience will see that a week later. But grab your torches and head back to camp.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.